One man walked into the heart of darkness, carrying nothing but a wire and a fake name. For 6 years, he became someone else entirely, earning the trust of people who would kill him in seconds if they knew the truth. How do you dismantle an empire when one wrong word means you never come home? In 1976, the FBI faced an impossible problem. The American mafia had become untouchable, protected by layers of insulation and a culture of silence enforced by fear. Source: FBI Historical Records, 1978. Traditional surveillance methods hit walls everywhere because mobsters spoke in metaphors and conducted real business face-to-face, never on phones. Joseph Pistone was a 32-year-old FBI agent with an unusual edge. He grew up in an Italian neighborhood, spoke the dialect, and understood the culture from the inside. Source: FBI Personnel Files, Declassified, 1997. In 1976, his superiors approached him with a mission that was supposed to last 6 months. Infiltrate the New York mob families as a jewel thief named Donnie Brasco. That 6 months became 6 years, and it would change law enforcement forever. Pistone started at the bottom in September 1976, hanging around social clubs and bars in Little Italy. He created a complete backstory. Donnie Brasco, a small-time burglar and jewel expert from California looking for work in New York. Source: Donnie Brasco, My Undercover Life in the Mafia. Pistone Autobiography, 1988. Every detail mattered, because these men tested newcomers constantly, asking questions designed to catch liars. His first major break came through Benjamin "Lefty" Ruggiero, a low-level soldier in the Bonanno crime family who was always broke and looking for scores. Lefty took Donnie under his wing, teaching him the rules, the respect protocols, and introducing him up the chain. Source: FBI Surveillance Reports, 1977 to 1978. The relationship was real in a complicated way. Lefty genuinely liked Donnie and saw him as the son he never had, while Pistone had to balance human empathy with his mission. By 1978, Pistone had penetrated deep into the family structure. He met with captains, sat in on meetings where murders were discussed, and witnessed loan sharking and truck hijacking operations. Source: Court Testimony, USA vs. Napolitano, 1982. He wore a wire when possible, but mostly he had to memorize everything and write reports late at night in safe houses, documenting names, dates, conversations, and criminal activities with photographic precision. The operation expanded in 1979 when Pistone was introduced to the leadership of multiple families. He traveled to Florida and Milwaukee, connecting different mob operations and mapping relationships the FBI had never seen before. Source: FBI Case Files, Operation Donnie Brasco, released 2004. The Bureau kept extending his assignment because the intelligence was unprecedented. But the psychological cost was mounting. Pistone rarely saw his wife and daughters, lived in constant danger, and existed in a moral gray zone that haunted him. The most dangerous moment came in 1981 when the Bonanno family prepared to make Donnie a full member. This meant a ceremony, a blood oath, and full access to family secrets. Source: FBI Internal Memos, May 1981. It also meant Pistone would have to participate in a murder to prove himself, which created an impossible ethical dilemma. The FBI began planning to extract him before that line was crossed. In July 1981, the Bureau pulled Pistone out. The operation ended abruptly, and within hours, the FBI executed coordinated arrests across multiple states. Source: Department of Justice. Press release, July 26, 1981. Over 200 mobsters were indicted based on Pistone's testimony and evidence. The Bonanno family was thrown into chaos, and Lefty Ruggiero faced a death sentence from his own people for bringing in a rat. The case rested on multiple layers of documentation. Pistone had recorded over 300 hours of conversations on body wires, though many conversations couldn't be recorded because of security protocols in mob social clubs. Document FBI evidence log, case number 177-NY-238172. He provided detailed written reports filed every 48 hours, documenting thousands of criminal conversations and transactions. Physical evidence included photographs Pistone took covertly, business records seized in raids, and financial documents tracing money laundering operations. Source: Federal Court Records, Southern District of New York, 1982 to 1984. The FBI corroborated his accounts with independent surveillance and testimony from other witnesses who confirmed Pistone's presence at specific events.
The sheer volume of evidence was staggering. Everything from illegal wiretaps to meticulously detailed financial ledgers.
Court proceedings validated the operation's integrity. Multiple federal judges ruled the evidence admissible, and defense attorneys' attempts to discredit Pistone failed under cross-examination. Source: Appellate Court Decision, USA v. Ruggiero, 1984. His testimony led to over 100 convictions, with sentences totaling over 800 years of prison time combined. Source: FBI Crime Statistics Report, 1985. Defense lawyers argued that Pistone had entrapped some defendants by encouraging criminal activity rather than simply observing it. Federal courts consistently rejected this argument, ruling that Pistone had not induced crimes that wouldn't have occurred otherwise. Source: Legal Briefs, Multiple Cases, 1982 to 1986. The entrapment defense failed because evidence showed the criminal enterprises existed long before Pistone arrived. Some critics within law enforcement questioned the operation's length and the psychological toll on Pistone. Internal FBI reviews debated whether 6 years undercover exceeded safe limits and whether the Bureau had adequate support systems for deep cover agents. Document FBI Internal Review, 1983, partially redacted. These concerns led to new protocols for long-term undercover operations. The operation devastated families on both sides. Pistone's wife and 3 daughters lived in constant fear, moving frequently, never able to tell anyone what their husband and father really did. Source: Interviews with Pistone Family, 1997. His daughters grew up with an absent father who couldn't attend school events or explain his absences. Lefty Ruggiero's life ended in tragedy. He was arrested, served time, and died of cancer in 1994, having been ostracized by the mob world he'd devoted his life to. Source: Death Certificate and FBI Surveillance Notes, 1994. Pistone has spoken about the guilt he carries regarding Lefty, acknowledging the genuine friendship alongside the betrayal, a moral complexity that never fully resolves. The Donnie Brasco operation revolutionized undercover law enforcement methodology. Before Pistone, agencies believed deep infiltration of the mafia was impossible because of ethnic requirements and cultural barriers. Source: Law Enforcement Quarterly, 1990. His success proved that with proper preparation, identity construction, and psychological resilience, agents could penetrate even the most closed criminal organizations. Think of it like this. The mafia operated like a medieval fortress with walls, moats, and guards checking everyone who entered. Pistone didn't storm the walls. He walked through the front gate dressed as a resident and lived inside for 6 years, mapping every room and secret passage. Federal agencies worldwide studied the operation and adapted the techniques for infiltrating terrorist cells, drug cartels, and human trafficking networks. Here's what we know for certain. Joseph Pistone spent 6 years inside the mafia, documented thousands of crimes, and his testimony produced over 100 convictions that fundamentally weakened organized crime's power in America. What remains unclear is the full human cost. How many people died in the aftermath? What psychological price Pistone still pays? And whether the ends justified the means when friendships were weaponized. Pistone's techniques remain standard training in FBI undercover programs today, and the case continues to influence law enforcement strategy 40 years later. FBI Training Manual, 2020 edition. Long-term psychological studies on deep cover agents may eventually reveal more about the cognitive costs of extended identity deception. Additional classified details may be released as more documents reach declassification age, possibly revealing other agents involved or parallel operations. Note: FBI typically declassifies case files after 30 to 50 years. One man with conviction and courage proved that no criminal empire is truly untouchable. The cost was measured in years of lost family time, psychological scars, and complicated moral questions that don't have clean answers. But the impact reshaped how justice confronts organized crime forever. If this story interested you, watch our next video. The Spy Who Saved 1,000 Lives, inside the CIA's greatest rescue operation, where another individual risked everything operating alone behind enemy lines. This script draws from FBI declassified case files, court testimony from federal trials, 1982 to 1986, Joseph Pistone's autobiography, Department of Justice records, and academic research on organized crime. Some operational details remain classified. All allegations are presented as reported by authorities and confirmed through legal proceedings.